Hi there, champ. Yes, you are a champ because you are still with us. And today we are going to talk about emotional eating. But let's first reflect back. We said we must begin with the end in mind. Your new story, how you would like to be after this 12 weeks. And we also mentioned the fact that you make a decision that's important. Every day you make decisions to put you in a powerful position. Use the products consistently and visualize your outcome. But as time goes by, this seems to fade away. What is happening? You have the power to achieve and maintain your body's best weight goal. But you can't only consider your food diet. It's your attitudes, feelings, self-image, sense of despair, and so on that most determine your ability to stay with a diet plan and not revert back to old eating habits. Did you know that your heart brings in the intuitive intelligence and the power of your spirit, which is much stronger than just trying to discipline your habits from the mind and willpower? Today we are going to talk about emotional eating. 75% of overeating is caused by emotional eating. A lot of us are using food to cope with our feelings, and we all carry emotional weight, not just physical weight, making it much harder to stick to our diet. Let me explain. Your behavior determines if you are going to be successful. On the inside, we are influenced by our thinking, but our thinking is influenced by what we feel. And our emotions have an influence on our feelings. And then we also sit with our physiology, and those are the data inputs. For instance, signal from your guts, what you eat or don't eat, telling your brain what is going on in your gut. And that determines how you are going to behave. But there are other streams of income or data incomes as well. Your gut, as we said, your lungs, your heart, your electrical signals from the brain and chemical signals and other pressure waves. So all those things play a role. But we focus now on your emotional part, the heart, because your emotions are actually in your heart. It's situated in your heart. Now, if, for example, somebody say no to you, or you feel you're not good enough, or you can't stick to the plan, and you feel a failure, or whatever type of inputs that you get, you feel it in the heart. And for instance, if you take rejection, if you feel rejection, you will stress about it, and that shows on your heart rate variant. There's a definite difference in your heart rate variant there. And then, because of that stress reaction, you get brain fog. You can't think clearly. You lose your focus, and you tend to forget what you actually should do. Now, with all those different negative emotions that can influence your system, and we call it stress, uh, do have some other things happening to you as well. Your mouth is dry, you can't speak, sweaty palms, and then you start to breathe shallower and faster, and you run into a uncalmness or incoherence mode. And the moment when that happens and you are stressed, you are not effective anymore, and your performance is bad. So we need to become aware of the incoming data and get control over that. That data inputs, the negative emotions. That's the problem, because that gives us the stress. So we need to get into a coherent mode where you are calm, where your heart rate variant is nice, smooth sine wave, and that can build your resilience, and it will help you then to perform the way you really want to perform. You see, it can be very frustrating when you have all the best intentions to make new choices and are continually hijacked by old patterns. When that frustration or that stress trigger come your way, feeling bored, maybe lonely, your serotonin levels drop and you feel down. It even influences your sleep. And it's then when people run to the refrigerator and they take that cupcake. And just to feel better. But they actually feel worse because they know they couldn't stick to the plan and discipline themselves. And then they eat all the cupcakes because they feel so bad and they just want to feel better. And it's then when they say, well, I fell down, so I'll just keep crawling, I won't try to walk again. And they give up. It's then when they don't use their shakes anymore and they don't follow the plan anymore and they just feel a failure. How do we overcome this emotional hijacking? By using 3 anti-hijacking tools. Now first, identify those stresses, that negative emotions. That's very important to identify it, to become aware of what is this emotion that really influences me so much. The moment when you identify that there's a stress trigger, then you stop immediately or you freeze. You just stop. In other words, you feel frustrated, you think, I'm going to the fridge now to eat that piece of cake. But stop first. Stop immediately and then do some hard breathing. Now, what does that mean? It means you take your mind out of the equation here and you focus your mind on your heart as if you breathe through your heart. And you do that about 5 times. How do you do that? By first blowing some air out. That's where breathing starts. 5 counts. And then breathe in for 5 counts. Hold it for 5. Breathe out for 5. Do this 5 times. And then, while you are doing it, you focus or you visualize on your new body. And then there, at that moment, you decide, listen, I'm going to focus on my goals, on my new body, what I want to achieve. If, for instance, you did take that cake, that's not a problem. Say to yourself, do the same, all those 3 important steps. And say to yourself, well, I've eaten 1 piece of cake, I enjoyed it, and that's no big deal. And then visualize again your new body, start fresh, and focus on what you want. And this is what we call heart intelligence. You can notice what you feel, that's the first step. Deal with this emotion right now, in the moment, rather than stuffing that feeling until it pops up again in another eating binge. That's heart intelligence. You can control it. Let's summarize. Emotional eating is a reality. Emotions are much stronger than your mind power or your discipline. Identify your stress triggers or stress emotions and then stop, breathe through your heart, calm down, focus on what you want, and get back on track. With this, you will never fall into the trap of emotional eating again. You can overcome that.